Good evening. My name is Thurman Greco, and this is the Let's Live show, and we have a wonderful guest this evening who is from the Woodstock Apothecary. Introduce yourself to our audience.
Hi everyone, my name is Liz. I am a natural products advisor at Woodstock Apothecary. I'm also a registered dietitian. So combined together, I can really help to give you the best supplement nutrition advice.
And we've got a lot of really good questions tonight. And I want to start off with the krill thing. If you're going to take an oil, what should you take?
This is one of my favorite topics.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because there's so many myths out there, and it's so easy to get swayed by marketing and the different, ideas that are out there. So it's actually, we had a sandwich board outside the apothecary for a while. Some of you may have seen it. Flax, fish, or krill.
Yes.
Find out the truth inside. That was something that we had, so we can get into that.
Okay.
So our body needs 2 omega-3 fatty acids. They're essentials, so that means our body doesn't make them, so we need to get them through our diet. But the average American diet, even if you eat really healthy, does not really provide enough of these at all, and almost everybody is omega-3 deficient.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. And if you look at the list of omega-3 deficiency, it's huge, and all the different things that can manifest. So poor immune function, dry skin, dry hair, dry eyes, GI distress, the list can go on and on and on. Cardiovascular, health can be impaired. So what we want to get is EPA and DHA. Those are the 2 omega-3 fatty acids. We all are sort of looking for the best way to get these, and there's a lot of myths out there, which is the best. So to us at the apothecary, what we've researched is that to get a high enough dose to actually be beneficial to do anything, the very best way to do that is through fish oil. For us, number one, hands down, because you can get a high enough dose at a relatively, good cost, and it will give you everything you need. So a lot of the healthy supplement marketing is promoting things like flaxseed oil, chia oil, hemp oil, or now krill oil to be sort of an alternative to fish oil. This is where we sort of do our research and show that flax oil, a lot of people use this as an alternative to fish oil because it contains omega-3, and it's very easy to think, I need omega-3, this has it, it's an alternative. But the the flax provides an omega-3 called ALA, which is not one that we really need. In very small doses, our body will convert that ALA to EPA, which is the really good one. But, it's not nearly enough that would be beneficial for us to take it. In fact, a lot of flax oil can be really inflammatory the way that it's processed. So I kind of say don't really go that route. Rather, if you're going to have flax seeds, use them for fiber purposes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you should buy the seeds and not the oil.
If you're going to use flax, I would say it's the best purpose for it is they have a nice nutty flavor and it's a great fiber source. Okay. But as far as using it as omega-3 supplement, it's just not worthwhile. And the same thing goes for hemp and chia. They both contain that ALA, omega-3 fatty acid, that's just not what our body needs. It's not essential, just like the EPA and DHA. So now krill oil comes in, it's very relatively new on the supplement scene in the last few years, and it's got some amazing marketing, I must say. But if you actually look at krill oil, I'll back up. With the EPA and DHA, those are those omega-3 fatty acids, you want a certain dose every day. From our research at the apothecary, we've realized that for anything, for cardiovascular health, for immune function, for skin, for gastrointestinal health, you would need at least 3,000 milligrams a day of DHA and EPA combined, added up. So to do that with an average krill oil pill, you would need like 25 or 30 krill oil pills a day.
Wow.
So they're marketing you need 1 per day, but there's nothing based on that. There's nothing. And the thing with krill oil is these companies, like if you boil it down to who's actually making the krill oil, they swear that they're not using solvents like hexane and acetone, but they are because their plant had an explosion from hexane blow up. So there's these awful solvents. I mean, acetone is what we use to take nail polish off, and yet that's what's used in krill oil manufacturing.
Wow.
And it's not sustainable for the environment. I mean, there's things that could go on and on. You're killing off a bottom layer of the food chain in the ocean. Devastating things could result from constant taking of this, valuable resource. So to us, we'd rather you go with fish oil. When you're going, you can take a tablespoon of it every day and get everything that you need. It's sustainable, well, at least with the companies that we choose, specifically Nordic Naturals, because they use fish that's already been used for something else.
So you need a tablespoon every day?
I really recommend the liquid only because it's the most cost effective to get that dose. There are more concentrated forms where you could take a teaspoon and get that dose. That's what I do because truly I'm a big baby and a tablespoon of oil just doesn't appeal to me. So a teaspoon is something that I'm more comfortable with, and that's great. They have that out there. But the average soft gel, it may say 1,000 milligrams on the front of the bottle, but that's not what we want to go for. That's the measurement of just how much the soft gel weighs, period. Don't look at the back on the supplement facts and add up EPA and DHA and figure out how many you would need to get to 3,000 milligrams of combined. So most soft gels, even Nordic Natural soft gels, you would need 12, 15 soft gels a day.
Wow.
Yeah. Now there's more concentrated forms. We actually have one that we sourced ourselves at the apothecary that is one of the most clean fish oils I think we'll ever see in our lifetime, and that's only 3 a day. Because most soft gels, they may be huge. These fish oil soft gels are huge, but only a tiny bit of them is actually fish oil. There's other oils in there that are inert. They're not doing anything because it's cheaper that way. So we found one that we can actually fill the entire soft gel. So that is the most concentrated soft gel you'll ever find is 3 per day.
Wow.
Yeah. So a lot of people come in constantly and they're buying, these soft gels from the drugstore or Sam's Club or things like that, and they're spending a ton of money on stuff that usually isn't purified properly. If fish oil smells like fish, it's not purified properly. And they're usually not getting anywhere near a dose that it's beneficial. We even go so far to say to people, if they're not willing to do the tablespoon or teaspoon of the oil or that many soft gels, it's not even worth taking. We're spending the money. So we just do research on essential fatty acids and these things.
Yeah, you have to be willing to go the amount, not just, I'll take one pill.
Right.
You have to be willing to take the full amount.
And consistently. Fish oil is one of those things where you can't do it every other day or, a couple times a week. It really needs to be something every single day. I tell everybody, think of fish oil as like a food group or a macronutrient. So we need protein, fat, and carbohydrates every day. Think of fish oil in the same way. Make sure you get it every single day. Now you could get it from diet. It's just really hard. You could eat like 3-4 cans of sardines a day with the liquid in there, and that would provide you everything you need. But I don't know anybody that actually really wants to do that. So.
Right.
Yeah.
So just skip that and go with the oil.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You mentioned something. You brought something up when you were talking about the different oils and how to choose which oil is what. One of the things that I experience when I go into the Woodstock Apothecary or any other place that sells vitamins is I've had this sense of being overwhelmed because I see row after row after row of bottles, cans, boxes, and I don't know which one to choose. How do you know what's right for you, for me,
Right.
How do you choose one?
But how would you? Right?
Right.
Unless you've had all kinds of education. I mean, how can you really know?
Right.
And it's what's so important about something like the apothecary. I always think that everybody should have a medical arsenal in their pocket. So not just your doctor, not just a pharmacist, but a bunch of people that you can know and trust to give you good information. So that's why I like the apothecary, because at the apothecary, we're educated for years, and we've been able to really understand the body, medical illnesses, medications, and be able to give an actual solid recommendation based on those things that we know won't harm you, we know would be perfect for you. So when you come into the apothecary, it's like getting a custom regimen that's just for you, because we're not just going to hand you anything because we get more money from this supplement or, we really focus on the actual person. So that's why we like that. And I'm so thrilled to be working there, is that we can really focus on each person as an individual and not just as a blanket person. So no, I wouldn't expect anyone to know what to get. Between the marketing that's just shoved in our faces every day and not being educated, how would you know what's going to be the best for you?
Wow.
Yeah. You go into an average drugstore or even health food store, unfortunately, the workers may not be educated enough or may be thinking that, getting pushed, this is the supplement to sell this week, get on it. And that's a totally different approach that we take at the apothecary, is that's not where we go. We're not out to make a ton of money. We're not out to, rob people. We want to give you good supplements that are clean from companies that do what they say at a good price. That's really what we're about.
Wow.
And if you don't need supplements, we won't give them to you.
Right.
Yeah.
Are there people who don't need supplements?
Yeah. The only thing I would say is that everybody needs fish oil. We're all deficient. I don't know anybody.
Really?
Yeah. People come in all the time, tourists or, locals, anything, and they say, I just want to take one thing. I'm not looking to take a bunch of things every day. Give me the best vitamin. And I always say, if you want to do one thing, it's not even a vitamin. I want you to take fish oil because we're just so deficient. And when people take fish oil consistently at the right dose, it does wonders. It does things that I can't even believe sometimes how wonderful people come in and they say that they feel and how wonderful they're doing and they have more endurance and more energy and more focus and their doctors like raving over their lab numbers. And I mean, it's just such an amazing thing to just supply the body what it needs.
Wow.
Yeah.
And fish oil is something that we all do need.
Yeah, but one of the most common myths with supplements is that you need a multivitamin. Everybody thinks that's their number one thing. I need a multivitamin. But if you're eating varied fruits and vegetables and different protein sources each week, you don't need one.
Really?
Yeah.
Do children need vitamins?
Children can benefit from vitamins, but every single children or infant vitamin that's out there is a synthetic derived vitamin. So to me, it's not even worthwhile. I would much rather them eat the foods that are rich in those, vitamins and minerals. Now I get it. I have a 4-year-old. Kids are picky. They don't eat everything. To me, it's just a struggle to get her to eat anything green. And you worry. So, at the apothecary, we do have true whole food supplements. So they're not vitamins, they're not these chewable, and don't get me started on gummies. But, these are true whole food supplements. We do have them in tablets, but it's hard for kids to swallow tablets. So they are in powders too, and they really don't taste bad. And all it is are different foods. We have vegan formulas and regular formulas with animal glandulars, which are good because they're from grass-fed cows, they're clean, and you can get a lot of vitamins and minerals from those things. So, and they come in powder, so you could easily mix it in some yogurt or a smoothie or, applesauce, anything that a child will eat, and it's a great way to get it into them without giving your child a synthetic vitamin. Vitamin C, for example, that's synthetic is usually derived from corn syrup. It doesn't do anything like we would think a vitamin C food would do, yet this is rampant everywhere. Synthetic vitamin Bs have only been shown to help shorten a woman's lifespan. And they're everywhere.
Really?
Yeah. There's no reason that our urine needs to turn yellow and these vitamins need to choke us with their smell when they're going down. It's just chemicals. They should not be thought of as the same thing you get from food. No way.
Wow. So instead of buying vitamins for our children, we go to the apothecary and we get powders.
I would do that. I would first try and get your child to eat the food. I think it's really important to make it an everyday occurrence that you're offering your child these foods. It's very easy to just make your child chicken fingers when the rest of the family's eating something else because they're picky, but it's really important to really offer the food first for a child. That's the number one thing. It should definitely be getting, their diet should be supplemented with food, not with supplements. But if you have a horribly picky eater who just can't do it, then you would do something like that, but absolutely food first. I did a lecture last night with a group of 30 children at Mac Fitness in Kingston, and we taught them to eat the rainbow, which is such a fun concept, I think, for me, and it's everywhere. This is like a huge thing right now, but there's different colors in the rainbow, so to teach the children to try and eat a color, the colors from the rainbow every day. So for blue, they could have blueberries or blackberries, and red, they could have strawberries, orange, carrots, and bell peppers, and the kids just love it, and to make it exciting, makes the kids maybe want to take part.
Wow.
Yeah.
And do you give these talks very often? How does one book one of these speeches?
Well, it's sort of a new thing for me, and I'm really excited about it. Something we've been doing in our West Hartford store. That's where Josh went, in case anybody was interested. He's still with us. And he does these lectures all the time, and we realized what a great resource for the community. We go out. I'd be happy to do it. It's free to anybody who wants us to come speak to their group, to their church, to children, to anything. I'd be happy to come do that. Just come into the apothecary and ask.
That would be wonderful if you could go to the library.
We can go to anywhere.
Oh, that would be great.
We go anywhere. We have a multitude of topics. If anybody doesn't know, we do monthly health classes, and they're free at the apothecary. So we have, we've just started that last January. So already we have 12 full presentations that we can easily give, and really anything else we can come up with. So It's pretty awesome.
So your monthly classes are held when?
Every month. They'll be next week, and they're usually around like the 17th, 18th, 19th of the month. In Woodstock, they're always on Thursdays. And we hold them at 2 p.m. and 6 p.m. So everybody's got different schedules, and it's free. It's at our facility, and we go over everything. No purchase necessary, the whole bit. We just want to be able to get the word out there. We want to debunk all of the myths that are out there, and food and supplements.
So they're every month.
Yeah.
In the middle of the month.
Yeah.
And they're at 2 o'clock or at 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
Do you sign up? How do you sign, or do you just show up?
I prefer a sign up just so I can make sure I have enough chairs. That's it. If you just show up, we'll be so happy to have you.
Wow.
Yeah, it's great. So this upcoming month, next week, we're going to be talking about immune function and sort of debunking a lot of the myths that go along with that. So we're going to talk about how to keep yourself healthy this cold and flu season, what supplements work, what supplements don't, and we're actually going to be doing a flu shot, myth versus fact, with Neil, our owner, who is a pharmacist and wants to be involved this month, so we're really happy about that.
Is it time to take the flu shots now?
It is. The flu shot comes into supply in the pharmacies usually around August. And the earlier the better, because it takes 2 weeks to really take effect. So the earlier you can get it, the better protected you are, because trust me, you don't want to have the flu. We have customers come in all the time in the fall and the winter, and they're like coughing at the counter, and they're like, "Oh, I have the flu." And I look at them, no, you don't. If you have the flu, you can't even get out of bed. And anybody who's truly had the flu knows they never want to have it again. And if you're immunocompromised, or you're a child, or the elderly, your chances of being affected by the flu in a negative way are so much greater. So we really do recommend everybody get the flu shot.
Wow.
Yeah.
So have a lot of people shown up to get the flu shot this year?
Absolutely. And what's nice about the apothecary, and probably any pharmacy, but the apothecary as well, it's a walk-in weight basis. You don't need to make an appointment. You just walk in. Most insurances cover it. The pharmacies now, which is great. A lot of times it used to just be the doctor's offices they would cover. But even if your insurance doesn't cover it, it's just $25.
It's a very good thing. I know that last year, I not only got a flu shot, but Neil talked about it on the TV show. I went over and got a shingle shot.
Yeah.
And a pneumonia shot.
Yeah.
And I may have gotten a shingle shot and pneumonia shot sometime in the past, but it was so many years ago I couldn't remember. So I just went ahead and did it again anyway. And I had absolutely no reaction from any of them.
Yeah.
And shingles is such a terrible, it's really awful. And I've heard that 1 senior citizen in 3 has a chance of getting shingles.
Absolutely. Especially if you've had chickenpox before in your life, you're at risk for getting shingles. That virus is sort of just still in your body, and shingles could sort of erupt at any time. And the older you get, unfortunately, the more likely you are for this to happen. So we recommend the shingles vaccine because it really will just eliminate that. Your body will build immunity to that virus, and you won't have to go through that.
How often should you get a shingle shot?
Just once.
Just once. Mm-hmm. So I've been probably over-inoculated.
It's okay.
It's all right. But you guys were so careful. If I remember correctly, there was this long list of questions.
Yes.
And I think if I remember correctly, I filled out the questionnaire and I flunked and I had to come back.
Oh, absolutely.
Because they're so careful.
We are so careful. We don't, when you're inoculating anybody, if you're immunocompromised, it's different with the flu shot, but with the shingle shot, you could easily become ill. So we really are most careful with the shingle shot to make sure that you're not immunocompromised. You haven't been ill lately. There's so many different questions. You have no allergies to, say, like eggs, because those, those proteins are in the vaccine. We're really careful because it's important, Why would we ever want to take the chance at,
What is the earliest age that a person should get a shingle shot?
Well, from what I've seen, and this is definitely not my arena, but what I've seen is it's around 65 where the doctors and insurance companies will start paying for it.
Okay. But if somebody's in their 40s and they've had chickenpox and they want to get a shingle shot, is that okay?
Yeah.
Or is that not okay?
It's okay, but most insurances won't cover it. And the shingle shot, unlike the flu vaccine, is around $300-something.
Wow.
So it's usually not something, and it's not really recommended. I mean, at that age, because generally your immune function is a lot better and you're not at the high risk group yet. So you could do it if you wanted to, but you're better off
waiting until later.
And there are some people that will get it every 10 years just to make sure.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
so you're good.
And if you're a senior and you're on Medicare, it's covered. Or do we pay for it? Do we pay a fee for it?
Generally, a lot of them are now being covered. Even last year when I started at the apothecary, I was noticing that there was some sort of copay with a lot of people, but there are a lot more and more and more being fully covered, which is great.
Well, yeah, because that's the cheap way to go. If you can prevent, I mean, that's much better than treating once you come down with it.
Absolutely. And, there's so many myths out there about vaccines and what's in them, and it's something that we're really going to go over at the health class. So if this is a topic you're passionate about, we'd love to have you with our class. Between Neil and I, we're going to have a really good time going over just the myths versus facts and things like that. So,
well, I know that there are a lot of people who do not feel good about inoculations.
Absolutely.
But I have lived in a couple of third world countries, and most of the things that people are inoculated against, I have seen people suffering from those illnesses. And they're terrible diseases. I mean, it's not, they are terrible diseases.
Oh, yeah.
Typhoid, tetanus, I mean, these things, dengue fever, I mean, these things are terrible.
They're terrible.
So you should really get yourself, or that's my take on it anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really, you don't want to catch these things, and you need to do what you can to prevent them. Well, now, let me ask you something. There's a lot out there now, starting this time of the year, a lot of sniffles and coughs and stuff. What can we do to protect ourselves from these things? And are most of them allergies? Are they infections? Are there viruses? What are these things that are going around, these sniffles and coughs?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Come fall time, this is what we're hit with. So, fall, we still have allergens, out there. There's different, a lot of people, their allergies sort of wake up in the fall and the springtime. So we do have people who are having allergy attacks, the runny eyes, and the sniffling noses and the dry cough. And if it's an allergy, there's certain methods of preventing or making sure that you don't really have the symptoms. But there's also viruses, which would be like the cold. There's infections out there. You can use sinus infections. I mean, we're so bombarded because of the changing weather, and a lot of times we're a lot more busy in the fall, so we're doing a lot more, and you can be more susceptible to, a lot of these cold or viruses or bacteria getting to colonize, and that's the problem. Because, every day we're bombarded with germs. You and I have probably shared 10 billion sitting here, and we're not sick constantly, we're not all dying constantly. So our body has one heck of an immune system really working every day to make sure that sometimes one of those, viruses or bacteria can get in and get colonized and turn into an actual illness, and that's really what happens. Now, there are things that you can do to prevent. So with allergies, honestly, I'm going to be honest, natural versus traditional, I've done some research. I think the very best thing, if you really truly have allergies, is to take something like Claritin or Zyrtec. There are natural antihistamines such as those, like nettles. The thing is that it's just tough because you have to take them 3+ times a day. So nettles can affect your blood pressure negatively, where a Claritin wouldn't so much. So I honestly think that one Claritin or generic a day is the best thing for allergies. I do. And that's coming from the standpoint of I work in a pharmacy where we have Western medicine and we have the natural stuff. And really what we try and do is find what's most effective and safe for people. So to me, Claritin is the best for allergies. It just is. Or Zyrtec or Allegra. They're pretty much the same thing, just different, very similar, same family. Now, colds, bacteria, sinus infections, bronchitis, all these things, these can also be prevented for the most part. You could do everything in the world for your immune function, and you can still get sick. It's just the way that it is. It happens. So, but the very best thing, and I think you might be surprised at this, but based on, some research that we've done, a lot of research, the very best thing to prevent or to make your immune system function as best as it can, high-dose fish oil, just like I was talking about before, every day, and a probiotic, and a proper probiotic. Taken every day. A lot of your immune system function is based on your gut bacterial balance. And it's so easy to get a bacterial imbalance. It's so much easier for the bad bacteria to overtake the good. So taking a probiotic every single day regularly is something that I highly recommend. So your gut bacterial balance is in in order. You really have a much less likely chance of getting sick.
Okay, now you have opened a whole bunch of questions now,
ready.
girl.
Bring it on.
I want to know, how can you tell what probiotic we need?
Oh, I love this topic. I'm not kidding. I'm passionate about probiotics. Okay, so there's been a huge, marketing hype very lately about probiotics, and you're seeing all these on the market now, and it's everywhere. You can buy probiotics in the regular drugstore. You can buy them at health food stores. You can buy them, at the apothecary. What do you choose? You can buy them at your doctor's office now, which I'm finding to be interesting. So how do you choose? I'll give you our take on it. Bacteria are really sensitive to the way that they're manufactured, shipped, kept, and a big part of that is refrigeration. So bacteria, like a probiotic, must be kept cold, made cold, shipped cold in your house, everything. They will die at room temperature. I see so many products out there that say that they're shelf stable. It's constant. You'll see it everywhere. So there's nothing that to be said other than bacteria are not shelf stable. They're just not. There's certain ones that are, and we'll talk about that in a second, but your basic, Acidophilus or Bifidobacterium, these are not shelf stable. What a lot of companies will do is they'll put a lot of the colonizing units in these, and then they'll say there's 15 billion units of this bacteria, but if it's kept at room temperature, in the manufacturing warehouse, and then at the distributor's warehouse, and then at the store, you're losing tons and tons and tons of potency, and you're paying a ton of money for something that is minimally effective. And you also have to be careful. You can go into a lot of stores where there's a refrigerator section for the probiotics. But a lot of times, if the store, I would always recommend when you go into a store and buy a probiotic, you ask them where they get it from. Do they get it direct from the manufacturer and have it shipped with dry ice and ice packs? Or do they get it from a distributor? The distributor generally would keep the probiotics in a pretty hot warehouse, and they're shipped with regular supplements and then put in the refrigerator when they get to the store. So right there, that's nice, but to the general consumer, that's extremely misleading because you're thinking, I'm getting this refrigerated probiotic, but generally it's not been refrigerated. So we always recommend that you find some place that gets the probiotics direct from the manufacturer and who ships them 2-day dry ice packs because it's so important. The other thing, I'm going crazy now, but
no.
The other thing is that bacteria, for the most part, are competitive with each other. So they'll fight. Think of bacteria in capsules. If there's more than one strain in a capsule, they fight with each other and they severely weaken or sometimes even kill off certain strains. So when you see, and it's just this huge thing, everybody comes in, it's constant. My doctor said the more strains the better. That's the probiotic I need. This probiotic has 8 strains, so it's got to be better than this one. And it's a complete myth because, unless a company can actually prove that certain strains that they've put in are not competitive, chances are they're severely weakened or dead. So doctors' offices, whatever, there's these multi-strain, probiotics, and chances are they're much more weak than you can imagine, and a lot of those strains are not even getting benefit from. So that's another component. Then you want to get your probiotics from a company that actually makes their own bacteria, not just buys them randomly from somebody else. It's intense. And then, so what we look for, the company that I really recommend the most is Natron. Natron is the company that founded probiotics, that figured this out 50 some odd years ago, that bacteria are beneficial to our gut and that we need them. So they understand manufacturing. They understand that they need to be made and kept cold. They understand that we need single strain probiotics because otherwise they'll fight each other. But I will say that they've developed this awesome technology. There is one probiotic that they make that I think is the best probiotic on the market. We have it in our store called Trenev Trio, and it's called Trenev because that's the last name of the founders, Trenev. And this has 3 strains in it. 3 strains, not good, right? But this company understands this stuff. So they've developed this awesome technology where there is a layer of fat separating the 3 strains.
Wow.
And this capsule is made to break down in your digestive tract where it belongs. So people always say, this one's a little bit pricey or this one's a little bit pricey. But this technology is so great and you're getting such a strong dose of the bacteria. To me, it's by far the best probiotic on the market, and we sell it at the cheapest possible price that we can so that we don't, rip off anybody. We want you guys to get the best supplements at the very best price, hands down. So it's pretty awesome. So when you're looking for a probiotic, one, you want to make sure that it's single strain, or call me with the brand and I can help you figure it out, because you want to get the best potency possible. You want to make sure where you're buying it from is getting it straight from the distributor and putting it in the refrigerator as soon as it comes. When that shipment comes, I literally drop everything, unless I'm with a customer or something. I'll drop everything and put it in the refrigerator immediately, even though it's still cold in the box. It's just so important. Now, one thing I will bring up that I'm seeing a huge trend is the addition of soil-based bacteria in these probiotics. Now, soil-based bacteria, and they usually start with the word bacillus.
Yes.
So Bacillus subtilis. There's a bunch of them, but they start with the word bacillus, and that means they come from the soil. So these soil-based bacteria are not normally found in our gut. And they can be beneficial for a while, but the problem is that nothing kills them. Not even boiling water will kill these bacteria. So I've even seen tea with them in it, because the hot water won't kill them. And they're spore formers, so they can make these huge colonies in our intestines with bacteria that is not normally found there. So I personally know people that have been in the hospital with horrid GI symptoms. I won't go into details. And upon further look, it's a bacillus infection. So it's something that we are really strict about. The apothecary, we won't carry anything with these bacteria. We found a company that we had carried that started adding it, didn't tell us. We immediately got rid of it, immediately. We will not carry it, just on the possible risk that you could get an infection. Now, Canada and Europe ban these bacteria from their supplements, yet in the United States, they're commonly found. I mean, you can find them in the drugstore as shelf-stable bacteria a lot of times.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So it's just something to look out for. And like I said, with supplements, there's almost zero regulations in this industry. So anybody can put anything in a box or a capsule, call it whatever they want, say it will do whatever they want pretty much. And, if it's in a fancy package and marketed well, people will buy it. And so what we do at the apothecary is try and get through and weed through all that nonsense and figure out what's actually true, what companies are actually going to do the right thing. We insist on such transparency with our companies, especially with herbs. If you are going to say that's what's in there, I want to see proof. I want to see all the testing you've done to make sure there's no lead and mercury or arsenic or things like that in your products. So it's just something that we do a little bit differently. We're extremely strict, and we won't carry something just because we make better money off of it. It's just not the way that we do things.
Well, I do notice that at Woodstock Apothecary that you don't have that many products.
It's true.
Because you can go into a drugstore and be totally overwhelmed, and that doesn't happen so much at Woodstock Apothecary.
Sure.
What kind of a role does stress play in all of the afflictions that we get in the fall?
Huge. If you're stressed out, your ability for your GI bacterial imbalance to go to the negative side is huge. And actually, if you're constantly stressed out, your body's secreting cortisol from your adrenal glands, which can, it sort of adds, that cortisol is not the greatest hormone to be emitted all the time. It can actually help you gain weight. It can do negative things. And getting sick, it's very easy when you're stressed because your body is already technically stressed. You're already putting it through, so it's much easier for a bacteria or a virus to really settle in and colonize. It just is. So, if you're a stressed kind of person, take a couple minutes every day throughout the day just to take a break. If you need to go out to your car, if you need to go in the back room where you're working, just sit and relax for a few minutes. Eat small, regular meals throughout the day that actually can help to de-stress you. Stop eating on the run. Relax when you eat. It's really important. If you're stressed at night and having trouble sleeping, that can affect your immune function too. Get rid of the TV, get rid of the computers and the iPads and the phones. Get rid of all that white glare and just relax. Maybe a funny book or just a relaxing time with a cup of tea. Those types of things are huge, even though they sound so silly. Those types of things. Writing a journal before you go to sleep of the things that bothered you that day or the things that you're looking forward to for the next day can be so therapeutic. And like I said, it sounds so basic, but these types of things are so good for us as humans. We're just always on the run and always on the go. And it's just so good to sometimes just decompress and just relax. And, make a cup of tea. Look at some silly pictures on the internet of funny cats and rainbows and whatever you think is funny. I mean, these things are so important. And there was a reason why we have breaks at work. Utilize them. Mm-hmm. And look at funny things or tell a funny joke or call a friend you haven't talked to in a while. These are all things that can really help to just de-stress us.
Yes. Do you find, I see a lot of children that seem to be stressed.
There's a lot more expectations on our kids now than there ever were. Kids used to just be able to run and play, go to school, come home, run and play, have fun. And now we have like state tests and new curriculum in school, and kids are expected to do this, this, and that, and have 5 activities and ballet and gymnastics and t-ball and all these things. And it's just, to me and to us, it's just too much.
Mm-hmm.
Kids are still kids. Encourage them in school, but maybe that's what I would say with our kids. You stick with just one activity and let them excel at it instead of 20 and having them run around all the time. Relaxation is good for kids too. It's not just good for us. To just enjoy their little lives and enjoy the time that they have. They're only kids for so long.
That's true.
So it's just pick one thing, let them pick. Let them enjoy. Give them a nice relaxing bath. Little different things. Reward them for their good behaviors. That can really bring stress down a lot in a child. It's a good positive reinforcement instead of negative reinforcement all the time. So.
You spoke about teas. Do you all sell teas at Woodstock Apothecary?
So I'm so excited about this. So we sell therapeutic herbal teas. We have a huge line, and it's something that we've done so well with and people really enjoy. So if you wanted to take an herb, you could find it in tea format at our store. But we've also brought in something fun recently, very recently. I'm glad you brought it up. So we decided to bring in a lot of other more, relaxing teas. We brought in Harney and Sons, so a little bit more fine teas, and they're just fun. And the teas are so delicious, and they're so high quality, and everybody who's coming is just loving it. So we have teas for relaxation, we have teas for therapeutic purposes, and we have teas just because you enjoy it. And we've been having so much fun at the apothecary, buying them for ourselves and opening them up and trying them every day, and we're just having a really good time because tea is so good for you in some ways, and it can be such a relaxing part of the day. We've been having tea parties at work. If anybody wants to come in and have tea with us, we can do that.
So you're selling tea at the Woodstock Apothecary for relaxation purposes, but then you also talked about herbal teas.
Yeah.
What role do herbal teas play in keeping a person healthy?
Depends on the herb that you choose. Herbs all have different purposes, and I'm going to be completely honest. If you're looking for the benefits of, say, turmeric or holy basil or nettles or something along those lines, it's pretty hard to get a full, decent dose in a tea. But you can get some benefit. If you're having allergies, you could steep a tea bag of nettles for 10 minutes at least. You should always steep it for 10 minutes if you want therapeutic value. And if you do that a few times a day, that can help with your allergies that you have in the fall.
A nettle tea?
Yeah. Nettles are a natural antihistamine. And so you have to do it a few times a day to get maximum effect. And be careful, if you have high blood pressure, I wouldn't go that route. But there are certain teas that can help if you don't want to take capsules or extracts. But the only thing is that you're not going to get a huge dose. So if you really need a certain amount, I would probably go with more of an extract or a capsule. But it is a nice way to get some benefit. Like in the fall or the winter, if you're having a cold or some bronchitis or things that go into your chest, you could drink wild cherry bark tea, and that can really help to soothe and break everything up in there. Does it taste good? No. But there is some therapeutic effect to it. So it's a nice option, a nice alternative to capsules.
Well, now if a person comes into your store and they want to try a tea, they think they're coming down with a cold or whatever, they want to try a tea. How do they know which tea to get?
Oh, we talk. We can go over anything that anybody wants. That's why we're there. We're there to help them with anything. So what we would do is find out what their goals are, talk to them about what avenue they would want to take something, and do it. So we can figure out, are you just coming down with the cold? Should you take echinacea, or are you in the middle of the cold? So maybe that wouldn't benefit you as much. So we can really play with that. But if somebody's actually sick, like getting like when you get that first sneeze, right?
Yes.
Or you just all of a sudden you get that crushing headache, and you just know that it's from getting sick, and you just know that's the moment to act. Because with certain things, you can really shorten the duration of your illness. You could take zinc lozenges, like 5 of them a day, and that can really help to keep the bacteria that are constantly dividing and growing from sticking. So it can help to shorten the duration. Because once you get a symptom, you've got it. You're sick. There's no going around it. But there are things like certain doses of echinacea can really help to shorten the duration as well. But we're talking as soon as you feel that first illness, it can really, really help.
Don't wait several days until.
Don't, because it's just, it's sort of just, you have to run the course. There are things that to help, you could take cold, cough syrup, and you could take, ibuprofen to help the headache. But once you get, once you're a few days in, you're in.
Yeah.
You're in.
So you have to start right away. Do you think it's a good idea for people to have things in their medicine cabinet?
Absolutely.
Waiting?
I do. I think everybody should have zinc lozenges at home. Why not? If you're going to get sick and you have that, what if you feel that first sneeze at 9 o'clock at night on a Saturday? You can really start right away. Gaia brand, for example, it's an herbal company that we carry at the apothecary. They have something called Quick Defense. And it's a really intense 2-day knock the cold out of the park type of a regimen that can really help.
Oh, really?
So a lot of people will keep that in their house at all times just in case.
Gaia brand.
Yeah, and I love Gaia. They're my favorite herb brand because they're so clean and they're so transparent. They'll show you anything.
Now, if it has a 2-day, knock it on its socks, and
I think it's 2 capsules 5 times a day. It's 10 capsules a day for 2 days.
Oh, so it's just pills, and you just take the pills.
Yep, and it will really help to knock it out. With the teas, there's really not a lot. You're not going to get enough of a dose to really help.
Wow.
But we do have something else at the apothecary which I love, and it's something called Cold and Sinus Blaster. And have you tried this?
No.
Okay, so this is great if you want a natural decongestant. So, some people, especially as we get older, we have the propensity to have high blood pressure, and there's not a whole lot of decongestants that you can take safely. So I love this. It's good for the whole family. It's in a dropper. It's an extract. And it's got things like garlic and horseradish and peppermint and cloves and cayenne and all of these different things that are so strong for, to open our sinuses. And you just take a full dropper full and just swallow it down. Just do it. And it really can help to just open up your sinuses. And because of that opening and the draining, it can prevent a cold from turning into a sinus infection.
Wow.
And also just help you. It's a natural way to decongest, help you sleep better at night. It's not the best tasting thing in the world, but it's it's so effective. It's something that we go through like mad. As the apothecary, we love it.
Now, what is the name of that product again?
It's called Cold and Sinus Blaster, and it's actually under our brand. So I'm really, really proud of it. It's one of the most effective things.
And this is a dropper bottle.
The dropper bottle. And you just do it. You just go for it. One per dropper. And keep tissues nearby because it really does help to drain everything that you've got, sort of working in there.
What do you do if you come down with a sore throat?
Well, there's different things. Like the Gaia brand makes throat lozenges that you can take, or they have throat shield tea, which is my personal favorite. It's just got a different herbal blend that can really just help to calm your throat and soothe it. I like that myself. But if you really have a sore throat, the best thing to do, if you really just want to get rid of the sore throat, is to take ibuprofen. Just take some sort of medicine if it's really driving you crazy. Now, diet-wise, I would definitely cut out caffeine, alcohol if you're dealing with a sore throat, because usually a sore throat is the precursor for the cold or the bronchitis or something like that. So usually the sore throat is one of the first symptoms you'll get when you're getting sick. So that's the time to not take synthetic vitamin C, but to actually eat vitamin C-rich foods. So brightly colored bell peppers and leafy greens and different colored fruits and vegetables and things like that. Those are the kinds of foods that will help your body sort of fight it off itself. But yeah, with a sore throat, if you actually just want to get rid of the pain, you could take like a numbing lozenge, or you could take ibuprofen. It works.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned something a couple of minutes ago that I've been hearing a lot about recently. Turmeric.
Yeah.
How do you sell that?
So turmeric is a powerful anti-inflammatory. However, it's just an anti-inflammatory. So I almost think of it as a natural Advil or a natural Aleve. So it will help to reduce inflammation, but it won't actually help to fix anything. Or say you're talking about arthritis, joint pain. People will take turmeric all the time thinking, it's reducing the inflammation, it's giving me pain relief, which is great. I'm so happy for that. But there are things out there that you can take that can actually help to fix the problem the best that your body possibly can. Like high-dose fish oil taken consistently can help tremendously with joint lubrication and pain over time. Or even we have a whole food supplement at the apothecary called Inflaplex. And it's just foods, a huge list of them, of foods that are dried appropriately to maintain all the, 20,000 compounds that are in foods. And these are the nutrients that your body needs to actually get to the site and fix it the best that it can. Now, it's not going to be able to fix a slipped disc or a torn, meniscus in your knee, but it can actually help to supply your body the nutrients it needs to get to the site, reduce inflammation, and sort of get in there and fix it the best that it can. It's awesome. So turmeric is great, but it's sort of an anti-inflammatory that is limited. But now, turmeric has a lot of anti-cancer properties, and I certainly wouldn't, discourage anybody from using it if you get it from a good brand like Gaia.
So you like Gaia brand turmeric?
Well, I like Gaia brand for a lot of reasons. They are very transparent, like I said. So on the box of every Gaia brand label, you can actually read. There's like a little number, and then you can go on their website and find out, who packed it, the testing, where it came from, all these things. I mean, this company is so transparent, where most herbal companies don't want you to know anything what they're doing, because usually they're up to no good. So with Gaia, and plus their capsules are liquid capsules, so you're getting actual extracts, which is really super potent forms. You can take dried turmeric, but it's not going to do nearly as good as a super potent, extract. So that's why I really just love Gaia for so many reasons. I mean, there's other herbal companies that are great, don't get me wrong, but that's just the one that I always go to.
When you mention inflammation, one of the things that comes to my mind, first of all, is something that the people in this country are just completely, it's epidemic proportions, and that's gum disease. I mean, it's like almost everybody has diabetes, almost everybody has gum disease. So the gum disease is an inflammation of the gums.
Sure.
So would the turmeric work for that?
Potentially, but there are definitely things that you would want to take care of first if you had gum disease.
What would that be?
That would be flossing.
Okay.
For real. Taking proper hygiene precautions in your teeth is one of the greatest ways to reduce gum disease. So flossing twice a day, brushing your teeth, using a mouth rinse, all of those things can really help to reduce all the bacteria that's in and around your teeth that can promote that gum inflammation. So that would be my first number one, and I would also cut back on sugar and things like that. I would actually even recommend a certain calcium supplement we have there.
Which one is that?
It's called Promin. And it's a whole food calcium supplement. And when I mean whole food, I don't mean that it comes from algae, which is not a good form of calcium. I mean that it comes from, actually, it's cold extracted from cow bones. And there's other whole foods in there, and this formula is actually very good for the teeth and for the gums.
How does Promin different from Bone Up?
Bone Up and Promin are very similar. They both contain the right kind of calcium for your bones, which is the one that comes from cow bones. And that type of calcium is called Microcrystalline Hydroxyapatite. Now, they differ.
Okay.
Yes. They differ because Promin is a whole food formula, so it'll contain that type of calcium, and then it has other different whole foods to supply the different nutrients we need to remineralize properly. So magnesium and phosphorus and boron and silica and all these things. And Promin actually also contains something different. They have it's a tracheal cartilage from a cow. And it sounds super creepy, but it's clean. It comes from grass-fed cows. It's very highly tested. And what this can do is promote or provide type 2 collagen in your body. Type 2 collagen has been studied time and time again to really help with joint lubrication, where, we're talking things like chondroitin or glucosamine. They have very little, evidence to back it up. So I love the Promin because it's a bone and joint formula, where Jarrow contains the right type of calcium, but it doesn't have whole foods to really provide the minerals, and it doesn't have that tracheal cartilage. So if Promin is out for any reason, I always go to Bone Up as my backup because I do think it's a great product. But I do like the idea of the whole food one just a little bit better because our body just assimilates nutrients so much better from food than it does from anything else.
Well, I take the Promin powder in the morning with my protein drink. I drink my breakfast, and then in the evening I do the Bone Up.
Oh, that's a perfect thing to do.
So I feel like I balance it.
You sure do.
That way.
Yeah. Well, really the most important thing with calcium supplementation is twice a day. Your body can only absorb so much at once. So it's so important if you're doing calcium to do it twice a day, just like you are.
These supplements, if properly applied, are extremely important. At one time in my life, 10 years ago, I was diagnosed with osteopenia. I no longer have it. And that's because I immediately began to take the supplements that I needed, and then I began to eat the foods in addition. Because there's a whole diet that goes with it.
Oh, absolutely.
It's just because somebody says you have osteopenia doesn't mean you're stuck for life.
It doesn't. And it's unfortunate. I'm proud of you. I'd like to clone you, by the way. That's amazing. It's unfortunate that the medical industry, Western medicine, if you will, doctors, Awesome, love doctors, don't get me wrong, but they're not trained in supplements. So doctors here, calcium helps bones. All right, take Citracal or Oscal, because calcium helps bones, but there's different types of calcium, and if you don't take the right type, it won't help your bones at all. Calcium citrate and carbonate are some of the most poorly absorbed forms of calcium, and very little goes towards your bones, if any. So the microcrystalline hydroxyapatite has been shown time and time again, and I can't tell you, just as a dietitian and somebody who's been in the industry, not knowing about this type of calcium forever, and seeing people struggle with osteopenia and porosis, and taking lots of this calcium day in and day out, to see people who are having such amazing benefits from a product that is so easy to take and right there and available, it honestly makes me so happy.
Well, and I didn't take the Fosamax. I couldn't. I tried it, but I couldn't. We are running out of time. I want to thank you so much for coming, and I hope you'll come back.
Anytime. I love this.
Absolutely. We'd love to have you again. And thank you very much for watching our program. We enjoyed having you as our audience. Good evening.